Hello. So we are doing the second half. So this is part 2 of level 2/3. So I'm coming down onto my side. Now I'm going to use the band on my legs. So depending on if you have a band, brilliant, don't worry if not. Now an alternative you can use to a band is you can always use an actual, say, leather belt with a buckle and tighten it. So what we want is if I bring the legs together, so mid-thigh, make it nice and tight, and then just turn about so the legs are together. So if you had a belt, you would just bring that belt and tight it as tight as you can. Then we're going to come down onto our side. Now remember, I'm just going to move my crystals. You know I like my little bit of crystals. So I always have my clear quartz. It helps me communicate better. I'm not sure it really works, but makes me feel better psychologically. So I've got my legs stacked, ankles, knees, hips. Now, if I've got no shoulder issues, I could have my arm extended long and I could rest my head just, my earring just got caught. Oh, it's popped out. So I could rest my head on my arm. If I've got any shoulder issues, I can take my block and I can take my cushion and I can rest my head like so, which I personally prefer. I feel like I'm much more stable. So nice and still. I'm just popping my earring back in. I don't normally wear it. I actually thought I'd make an effort today because I'm just like literally living in jogging pants, no bra, because it's just so nice to be free. You know, just slobbing it really. So I thought I'd make an effort today. I even put on mascara for you. You can't really tell, but still. So most of the time I'm looking a mess. Arms on top of one another. Shoulders want to be on top of one another. Knees, hips. We can have one hand on the hip. We can have one arm to the side. That's going to challenge the balance more. Lift it up, again, is going to challenge it even further. Or we can have one hand on the floor. What I want you to do is have your feet slightly flexed if that's okay. If that's uncomfortable due to sciatica, then just keep them relaxed. That's fine. And when I say if it's, what I mean is if you've got active sciatica going on, then don't flex the feet. If you've not been having any issues with your sciatica, you might be all right to just flex them and try it. So, nice and steady, core strong. That top leg, imagine someone is pulling that leg away, and then I want you to lift it up and hold it there. So we've now got both, just the top leg up in the air, but it's no higher than hip height, and we've got some tension on the bend. On the band. Then lift the bottom leg off the floor as well, so they're both floating. And all we do is bring them together, but the bottom leg doesn't go down, then lift the top leg. So both legs are floating, but we're adding that lift in the air. So it's just going to make it more challenging. And again, obviously, if you've got that arm up in the air or along the side, it's going to challenge your stability. So both legs are off the floor. The bottom one's just about an inch off the floor. And we're breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. So obviously if you had a leather belt on here, it's going to go slack, and then you just be aiming into tension, pull the tension back as you go back up. Let's have 3 more. Last 2. Last one, hold it here. Now, nice and strong, can we split the legs? Ooh, so we're slicing them through the air. So you should be really feeling it now, into the glutes on the top, to the piriformis, going, ah, ah! Or maybe that's just mine. So nice and steady, just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back, hold it there for a moment. Bring them both together, hold them both off the floor. Take a deep breath. Exhale, gently bend both legs. Give them a pat. Check it's alive, it's okay. So nice and steady. So now we're going to do side open gates. So we're going to release our band, and we're going to use the band again if you want to. So I'm just going to, actually no, I've got this behind me, so I'm going to move a bit further up my mat. So nice and steady. So I've got my band. There's different ways you can do this using the band. So if you've got your arm underneath you, you're going to need to change position and place the block or your hard back book and cushion so you've got that position. I want you to bend your knees so you're at 90 degrees. So imagine you're sat on a chair. So knees on top of one another, ankles on top of one another, nice and steady. Now with your band, so we have our arms on top of one another. You've got options here with your band. So you don't have to use a band. Now, what you can do is make your band as short as possible so that as you lift, you've got more tension. That's going to make it more challenging. Or make it as long as you wish so that there's more movement as you go over. So it's a bit of a trial and error as you go just to see how it feels. So eyes are looking forward. All we're going to do is lift the arm up and then pull it behind us. The head can come and rotate, but once we can no longer, if we're no longer seeing the armpit or the thumb, and the head has to twist to see it, then that's as far as the head goes. The eyes can go a little bit further if they can, and then gently draw it back, bringing the helm back where it came from. So we inhale, exhale. So nice and sorry. So we want to be inhaling as we're taking it through that movement. Exhaling as we bring it back. Inhaling. Exhaling. Nice and steady. Last one. Can we take it over and hold it there for a moment? Remember, we never want to be twisting the neck. And then very gently bring it back. Bring it back. One hand on top of the other. This time, bow and arrow. So again, we can change where our arm is on the band. We just gently slide the arm along the body, hold it there, eyes looking forward, and then draw it forward. Sorry, I knew I was going to sneeze, so we're just pulling it in and out. Pulling it in and out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. 2 more. Last one. Can we hold it? Hold it there, nice and strong, that bow and arrow position. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Let your band go. Take one hand across the chest so it's flat to the floor, knees stay bent, but just split your legs a little bit so one's just slightly behind. Push up to seated. We are going to go into seated row. So I want you to pop your cushion to the side, grab your hard back book or block. So remember, the reason we do, like if we do a press up and then we do a seated row, fall off the block, is because it covers everything. So basically we're working all our muscles, so it's absolutely fantastic. You do press ups, we're covering the front, do seated, we're covering the back. So we've got all those small and big muscle groups at the same time. So it just means you don't have to do lots of other exercises at the same time. So, which still can be nice, but it's just a nice way to do it. So we're going to use our band. Remember, if you don't have a band, that's fine. I want you to take it around the arches of your feet, cross it over. Now, you can see I've got straight legs. Don't want straight legs, I want a slight bend in the legs so my knees are not on the floor. And again, we can make this challenging by moving our arms, our hands closer towards our feet. Shoulder blades back and down, sitting as tall as we can. Let us pull in and breathe out. Pull in, breathe out. Pull in, breathe out. So nice and steady. for 2 more. Last one, hold it here. Sit in as tall as you can, hold it there. Just holding, keeping the wrists and forearms in alignment, making sure we're not getting floppy wrists. Let us take a deep breath. As you exhale, release the band. We're going to stretch our hamstrings, but doing it from an upright position. So I'm just going to turn to face you and just turn my block a little bit. So this is another way we can stretch our hamstrings. So we're sitting on the block, soft cushion part of the bottom on the block. Lord knows there's plenty of mine at the moment with all the cake I've been eating. I literally feel like I need to eat chocolate or cake every day. And baking's an activity to do with live as well. So I'm just eating so much, it's insane. Okay, so legs are nice and wide, sitting nice and tall. 2 stretches here. So at the moment we're getting a nice inner thigh stretch. We're going to put our hands behind us, facing forwards. Lift the chest up a little bit. So just stretching the chest a little bit. Breathing in nice and deep. Now walk your hands onto your knees or your thighs. Sitting tall, take a deep breath and just slide forward. Now we're not curling. We want to join those shoulder blades back and down into the back pockets, and we're just going to hold it there for a moment. Now we're getting an inner thigh stretch, but we're also getting a stretch into the hamstrings at the same time. So it's nice to stretch out the hamstrings before we go into bridge and imprints, particularly bridge. When we're doing that floor hamstring stretch, that can be more tiring, that can be more irritating for sciatica. You can still do this if you have sciatica, just keep your range small. I think this one's just, although stretching your hamstrings in general can be an irritation for the sciatica, this one's not as bad. So hold it there just for a moment, just enjoying that stretch, breathing nice and deep. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, slowly come up. Gently bend your knees. Come over onto your bottom. Pop your block to your side and your cushion to your side. And have your band to the ready. So remember, if we've got back issues, we can roll onto our side and come down. If we're feeling confident and strong, we can have our feet hip distance apart, core nice and strong, pelvic floor engaged, take a deep breath. As you exhale, we can roll the chin into the chest and roll down onto the mat. Once we're there, now remember for imprints, you can have your head on a cushion if you so wish. I want you to be conscious of whether your eyes are looking behind you, in front of you. We want them to be looking just up. So if they're looking behind, we need to nod the chin. If they're looking in front, we need to lift the chin. Core's engaged, palms are just by the side. We're going to take our bands, I said have it nice and close. We're just going to bring the knees into the chest. So remember, if you don't have a band, that's fine, but remember you can use a belt if you so wish. So nice and steady. We're just going to have them nice and tight, knees together. Take that band, tie it, make a pretty bow. And then very gently bring them back down. I want them hip distance apart. So when I tied that knot, they were together. So when I bring them back down, I have that hip distance is going to be tension on it. And remember, if you're not sure about hip distance, feet together, knees together, feet out like a penguin, Mary Poppins, heels out. We've got it. So let's start with our simple imprints. So we're lifting the tailbone up towards the ceiling, imprinting the lower back, the mid back, the upper back. We release the upper back, the mid back, the lower back. So you get that natural curve. So let us go back and forth, nice and steady. Controlled. So ignore me while I just adjust my little hoop. So nice and steady. This is, I know I say it every week and it gets boring. You just can't beat imprints. You don't have to go complicated to make a difference to your lower back. And this is just such a nice exercise. It gets that synovial fluid pumping, moving around. And I personally feel it just brings movement into your lower back. So if you're feeling quite stiff, you've been sat down, or you're achy, or when you're going for your hour-long walks, you're really going far, this is just a really nice exercise to do to just loosen everything up. So nice and steady, controlled. Last one, and relax. Now staying in that position, we're going to go straight into our bridge. Core is nice and strong and engaged. We're going up into our bridge and we're going to hold our bridge, okay? So check your eyes are looking up to the ceiling, not behind or in front. Core engaged, take a deep breath. As you exhale, gently imprint. So tuck the tailbone up to the ceiling, imprint that lower back, begin to lift mid, upper, and hold. We want that nice diagonal line, knees, hips, shoulders. Hands on the ribs, check the ribs aren't too high. If they are, lower the range of your movement and hold. Nice and strong. So we're just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. So hold that position, nice and steady, keeping it strong. Sometimes when I'm doing these videos, if I go quiet, sometimes I forget I'm teaching and it's as if I've gone into a workout. I just kind of like, so if I go quiet for a little while, I do apologise. Sometimes I think I'm just like, doing something for myself, which is a rarity. So nice and steady, hold it there. Or sometimes I think I'll be quiet for a moment and then I think, is that too quiet for too long? It's so hard to know. So constructive feedback about my nattering is always welcome. Whether it's too much or too little or too random, that's fine. Okay, very gently, let's imprint upper, imprint mid, imprint lower. Walk the feet together, knees together, 5 past 2, 5 to 2. And again, remember, if you can go further with your range of movement, then please do. You know your body better than anyone else. Nice and steady, just taking it side to side. So we're going to keep that band in place if you've got a band on, but it doesn't matter if you haven't, don't worry. You're still working hard. Feet are hip distance apart. Hands can either be across the chest, we can have them, I'll just move my cushion block out of the way, or we can have them by our temples, or remember, I'm just going to roll onto my side and come up. If we struggle, because we're going to do some crunches, if we struggle with our neck, we can take our hands in our X shape, place them behind the back, and you want the hands so that they're resting on the top of the shoulders. What that does is it just gives an extra guidance and support for the body. We certainly don't want you pulling up the head in by any means. So, nice and steady. Now, if you've got neck issues, you could just do the leg movement to this, okay? So what we're going to do, feet are hip distance apart, we've got that tension on the band, we're going to lift the head, look down the body, draw one knee in, and then as we take, so we're going to stick with the same leg, and then extend it out, head comes down, toe doesn't touch the floor, heel doesn't touch the floor, as if it's just dipping into water. So we inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now what we can do, if lowering it is too much for the lower back, is as we extend, extend up, in, extend up. So it's on the same leg, nice and steady, controlled. Shoulders relax. Remember, if it's uncomfortable on the head, on the neck, then just do the leg. I'm absolutely fine with that. What I want, the most important thing is that you feel the muscles fatiguing, but you're not causing yourself any pain, okay? So just 4 more. 3 and 2. And last one, I want you to just look down the body, hold it here for a moment. That leg is at 90. We're just holding it just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. We're going to do exactly the same with the other leg. So, comes in and out. Breathe in, breathe 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 out. Breathe in and out. Just for 4, 3, And of course on this last one, just hold it, looking down the body, just for 4, just for 3, just for 2, and 1. Bring it down. Walk the feet together, knees together, gently rotate side to side. 5 past, 5, 2. It's just nice and steady. Shoulder blades back and down. So, take your feet hip distance apart again. Knees facing up towards the floor, feet up. Hands, I want you to take them so they're in a triangular position. So index fingers together and thumbs. Place the index fingers and fingers onto the pubic bone and the thumbs just below the navel. Take up your right leg. We want to straighten this leg as much as we can. We're going to make a circle again. We've got the band in place. So, what we don't want, we're making a circle, we don't want the hip rotating out. So the movement, as we take that leg out, the foot is up towards the ceiling, it's not rotating out. So feel, as you have your hands in that position, spread the hands out a little bit so you can feel the hip bone. That way you're going to be conscious if it's rotating out. We're just making a circle. We've got that band on, adding more tension, just for 4. Excuse me, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down. Other leg comes up. I've got a wall in the way. So I'm just going to move my body slightly. Nice and steady. And again, we don't want the hip rotating out. It's the femur that's sort of moving in the joint. Nice and steady. So breathing in on that first movement out, breathing out as you draw it back. So it's breathing in. So nice and steady. Last one. Relax. So we need to do our side leg series on the opposite side. So roll onto the other side. I'm just going to change directions on my mat. So remember, if you've got no shoulder issues, you can have your arm like so. Or if we've got shoulder issues, we can have our block on a cushion. I'm just going to have a sneaky bit of water so I'm getting dry mouth. So nice and steady. Oh, that's much better. So, coming down, we're in a nice straight line. Band is on the thighs, nice and tight, mid-thighs. Remember, you can always retighten that if you need to. And I've got my arms in front. Shoulders are stacked on top of one another. Hips are stacked. Knees are knees are stacked. Ankles are stacked. I can't speak. Okay. Remember, we can have one hand on the floor, hip, long, up, whatever works for you. Imagine someone is now pulling. We've got these feet slightly flexed, if that's okay with your back. Got these feet slightly flexed. So imagine someone is taking that top leg and trying to pull it away from you. So they're trying to pull that top leg away. So that's going to give us that slight hollowing underneath, as if someone could just maybe slip a very thin piece of cheaper A4 paper. So not a good quality one, just a real fine, real fine one. So very challenging. I need to get out more, don't I? Clearly, if that's making me chuckle. Then lift that top leg to about hip height. Then lift the bottom leg. Nice and steady. So the bottom leg is floating. Then draw the top leg down and up. So down and up. So both legs are up off the floor. Control, nice and steady, just for 4 and 3 and 2 and hold it up. And let's slice them. So that band's just going to make it more challenging. Controlled. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back. as if we're sitting on a chair, ankles beneath the knees, knees in line with the hips, 90-degree angle, remember, give it a rub if you need to. One hand on top, we need to remove the band. Just get so enthusiastic there. So, wide open gait. So, side open gait, not wide open gait. Just moving a bit further forward. So I've got the wall behind me. So remember, we can use the band, but you don't have to use the band. It's totally your call. Knees stacked, ankles stacked. Nice and steady. We lift up. The head rotates. But remember, once we can't see the thumb or the shoulder blade, that's as far as it goes. We certainly don't want to be twisting the head, and then bring it back down. So nice and steady, controlled. Taking your time, breathing in. Ignore me, sorry, mate. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. So nice and steady, controlled. Making sure the hand comes down where it started. Letting your range be as far as it is. Obviously I've got the wall in my way here, so mine's not particularly big on this side. So let's just have 3 more. Last 2. And last 1. Hold it for a moment. And then bring it back. We're going straight into our bow and arrow, taking a hold, let it slide along the body, and then gently glide back. Slide along the body and glide back. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1 on hold. And relax. Very gently pop it down. We are rolling over onto our front. So you can have your cushion or block if you so wish. I'm going to do it without. So, oh, that was just my block. Oh, so feet hip distance apart. Hands can be just in front, rest the forehead on top. So, nice and steady, don't want to catch a chill. So, feet, shoelaces to the floor, they're hip distance apart, eyes and nose are looking down, my hips are into the mat. My pelvic floor is engaged and my abdominals are connected. Just nice and steady. All we're going to do is just lift the head up, looking down, and then bring it back. So just 4 of these, nice and simple. I know we're level 2/3. We don't always have to be complex, just simple before we go into our complex moves. So last one for me. And just hold it here as you're looking down for a moment. So the chin shouldn't be squeezing into the chest, the eyes should be looking straight down. Core is engaged. And then bring it down for me. What I'd like you to do is now take your hands, and this is where you may want your cushion or your block to go underneath your forehead. Like your hands to just be by the sides of the thighs. Palms facing up towards the ceiling. This time you're going to lift and arms come about 1 inch or so off the floor and then down. So we inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, inhale. last time. Inhale up and hold. Just for a moment, just for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And relax. As you relax, let your head rotate to one side. Let it relax there for a moment. Let's move that cushion out of the way. So nice and steady. I feel like I could just go to sleep now. To be fair, I feel like I could always go to sleep. I've never felt so tired. Well, actually, that's a lie. I had severe sleep deprivation with a small child for many years. But during this unusual time, I just feel tired all the time. It's being at home. So very gently, coming over to the other side. Let the head just relax there for a moment. Just take a deep breath. Bring it to the centre. Bring the head just under the arm, on top of the arm, sorry. And then just bring one foot towards the bum. Now remember, we can always use a strap or a band if we can't quite reach. We can always grab the back of our leggings, the socks or the foot, and just hold that stretch there for a moment. So just stretch into the quads. Hips and pelvis are tilting into the floor. It's not about getting your foot towards the bum. Most important thing is we're feeling that stretch along the front of the thigh, that big quadricep muscle. Holding it there. So nice and strong. So let's take a deep breath. As we exhale, let's bring that leg down and let's just do the same on the other side. So again, we could use a strap or a band, grab the leggings or the socks, hold it there. Oh. You might find one side is tighter than the other. That's why I just made that noise. Just hold it there. My body's so out of sync of itself at the moment. Nice and strong. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, gently let that leg come down. Hands by the side of the chest. Tuck the toes under. We're going to push the bum back onto the heels. Remember, if you're not comfortable with that, roll onto the side and come up into a side position. So take a deep breath. As you exhale, push up, bum comes back, knees come under. Walk yourself into an upright position on the knees. Nice and easy, toes tucked under or shoelaces to the floor. Just roll your shoulders. Ooh. One more time. Swing the arms. Just bringing our heart rate up. We've been on the floor for a little while. Looking forward. And then let the arms come down. Pelvically abdominally connected. We want to lead with our weaker leg. So whichever leg that is. And I'm always cheating, haven't I? Always cheating because I've got this wall next to me. So, one foot in front. Toes tucked under gives you an assist. Shoelaces to the floor makes it harder. I'm going to go for the assist. Hands by the side. Take a nice deep breath. Let's just bring it up. Inhale. Exhale as you step through. Feet are now hip distance apart. Nice and steady roll. Oh, sorry, every time I roll my shoulders, I'm like, oh. Okay, last one. Sassy, walk it out. Remember, the hips can sway side to side. It's not about keeping them level. Very gently. And then relax. Wiggle it out. Tailbone under. Pelvic floor, abdominal connection. All ready. Big juicy tomato. I never even mentioned that this week, did I? Under the chin. And you're holding it in place. And just stay there until next time. Well done. That's a good session. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.